On 30th December 1879, in the village of Tiruchuji, a child was born to Sundaram Iyer and his wife Algamal. It was the day of Ardra Darshan, the day on which Lord Shiva appears before his devotees. The child was named Venkataraman. His parents were devout people, and he grew up in an atmosphere of love and devotion to God. But soon, tragedy struck this happy family. Sundaram Iyer died. Algamal decided to send Venkataraman and his elder brother to Madurai to stay with their uncle. She instructed, Nagaswami, take care of Venkataraman. My sons, keep out of mischief, be of help to your aunt. Yes, mother, we will, they replied. At Madurai, Venkataraman joined the American Mission High School. Venkataraman was a strong, high-spirited boy. If there was anything unusual about the boy, it was his sleep. Other boys tried to shake him harder and even carry him round the compound. Yet, they could not wake him up. They used to call him Kumbhakaran, the brother of Ravan, who slept for months at a stretch. And then, one day, a relative came to visit them at Madurai. Venkataraman asked him, Uncle, where do you come from? I come from Arunachala, uncle replied. Venkataraman was astonished after hearing Arunachala. Uncle asked, haven't you heard of it before? It is another name for the temple town of Tiruvannamalai. The boy replied, I didn't know they were one and the same place. Venkataraman had heard this name before, but only now did realize that it was not some legendary city, but an actual place on earth. The name touched a deep chord in him. Some time later, Venkataraman came upon a book, the Periya Puranam. The Periya Puranam is about the lives of the 63 great Shaiva saints, the Nayanas. Venkataraman read through the book. He thought how beautiful these stories are. These saints were so good and pure. Can I become like them someday? He was so indulged in the book that his aunt saw him and said, look at the boy. He hasn't put down the book for hours. The thought of Arunachala and the lives of the Shaiva saints made Venkataraman a different boy. One day, it was 16 July 1896, he was all alone at home when suddenly he felt, what is this? What is happening to me? I cannot breathe. My hands have become numb. My limbs are becoming lifeless. I am dying, but what is this thing? Death? The energy that drained out of his limbs converged on this question with such intensity that in life itself, death came to Venkataraman as a direct experience. He felt that this body is dead. It is being cremated and will soon be reduced to ashes. But despite the death of the body, I can still feel the full force of my being. I can even hear a voice speaking within me. Who is this inside me? It is the I, my true I. So this I exists apart from the body. Therefore, I am the spirit, which I is immortal, deathless. He realized. Then the blood flowed through his limbs again, and he began to breathe. The death experience was over. But during that intense half hour, the playful young schoolboy had attained realization of the true I. Nothing could be the same again for Venkataraman. Everyone noticed the difference in him. His friends, too, noticed the change. They wondered, why does Venkataraman look so dreamy these days? They gave him a good push, but he just walked on as if nothing had happened. So his friends followed him and saw he was entering a temple. The same boy who went to the temple for play now went there to pray. O Shiva, you appeared before the 63 Nayanas. Won't you appear before me too? Bestow your grace on me, Mahadev. And he suddenly started to cry and thought, what is this? Tears? I feel neither pleasure nor pain. Then why these tears? So engrossed was he in his inner life that he often cast away his books and began instead to meditate. That was when Nagaswami, his elder brother, lost his patience and said, if you want to behave like a sage, why don't you become one? Venkataraman thought, he is right. Why do I continue to live this kind of life when my heart is in Arunachala? Venkataraman quickly looked up a map. He found that nearest station to Arunachala is Tindivanam. He took 3 rupees from the 5 rupees which he had been given to pay his brother's college fees and then wrote out a note. I have set out in search of my father and his command. Let no one grieve over this act, and let no money be spent in search of this. Your college fees have not been paid. 2 rupees are kept with this note. The letter began with an I, but soon passed into this, and there was no signature. Venkataraman left Madurai for Arunachalam on 29th August 1896. After taking the ticket, Venkataraman boarded the train. A little later, a Maulvi got into the compartment and asked, "Where are you going, young man?" Venkataraman replied, "I have bought a ticket to Tindivanam. From there, I will walk to Tiruvannamalai. But there's a new line from Villupuram that goes past Tiruvannamalai," said the Maulvi. "Thank you for the information. Then I will get down at Villupuram," said Venkataraman. Later, as the train was pulling out, Venkataraman looked for the Maulvi, but the Maulvi had disappeared. It seemed as if he had come to guide Venkataraman on his journey. Early the next morning, Venkataraman got off at Villupuram, but he had no money left. So he began to walk. By the time he reached the village of Kilur, he was exhausted. Weak with hunger, he fainted at the door of a house. A kind-hearted man saw Venkataraman and gave him a good meal. When Venkataraman had eaten and felt refreshed, he told his story and said, "I have no money left. Could I borrow some from you? I will pledge my earrings with you." Man gave him 4 rupees and a receipt for his earrings. Even before he reached Kilur station, Venkataraman tore up the receipt. He caught the train for Tiruvannamalai. The next day, 1st September, the great hill of Arunachala appeared in the distance. After reaching Tiruvannamalai, he ran towards the temple. There was not a soul in the temple. The midday worship was over and the doors should have been closed, but they were wide open. And thus the Lord welcomed his son home. Much later, Venkataraman came out of the temple. At the Ayyankulam tank, he had his head shaved and cast away his belongings. In the hall of 1,000 pillars, he sat down to meditate. But mischievous boys began to trouble him by throwing stones at him. So, Venkataraman chose an isolated place where he could be alone, the Patala Lingam, a dark, underground cellar. Days passed. The young man, lost in meditation, was conscious of nothing, not even of the vermin that nibbled away at his motionless legs. Till one day, a holy man named Seshadri Swami and some priests who happened to come there found him. They nursed him back to health. When he was quite well again, the temple priests began to question him. "My boy, you are too young to go through so much. Tell us your name. We will send you home. Tell us where you come from, young Swami. Won't you speak?" But the young Swami maintained an absolute silence. One visitor persisted in questioning the Swami about his identity. At last, Venkataraman gave him the information he wanted on a piece of paper. The news that the Swami's name was Venkataraman and that he came from Tiruchuji spread till it reached the ears of his mother. Algamal came to Tiruvannamalai and said, "My son, how glad I am to have found you at last. Please come back home with me, son." But a Swami is a man of God. He has neither father nor mother, neither has he a home. Raman only looked at her in silence. So Algamal had to return home disappointed. Though the Swami spoke not a word, people began to flock to him. He moved from one place to another on the hill and reached Virupaksh cave. Though he preferred to remain in silence, he answered the questions and cleared the doubts of his devotees. At this time, a great scholar, Ganpati Muni, came to see the Swami and said, "I have read all that needs to be read. I have studied the whole of the Vedanta and practiced severe austerities. Yet I am dissatisfied. I seek refuge at your feet." The young Swami spoke a few words to the scholar, and Ganpati Muni found the peace he had been looking for. He said he is a great man, one who has attained true knowledge. From now on, he should be called Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. and it is by this name that he has come to be known.